Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're tackling something huge, an illusion that is just totally pervasive in the senior living and post-acute care space. It's a metric that boards absolutely demand and operators constantly chase, but, as we're going to see, relying on it blindly can literally destroy your enterprise value. I'm talking about the trap of headline occupancy.
All right, let's just get right into it. 91%. Honestly, on paper, a community running at 91% occupancy looks like a massive win, right? The beds are full, the marketing team is probably high-fiving. But you gotta hold the confetti. Because what we're actually looking at here is what we call the 91% illusion.
So why exactly does 91% occupancy fail? It's a provocative question for sure, but we really need to challenge this whole assumption that a nearly full building automatically means you've got a healthy business. If you are operating on razor-thin margins, this hits your bottom line directly. Recent industry findings show us that a community can be 91% occupied and still be economically, clinically, or operationally weak. Occupancy, well, it's just no longer a simple math equation of units filled divided by units available. It's actually a really complex enterprise intelligence problem.
So here's our game plan for today. First, the 91% illusion. Second, the cost of data fragmentation. Third, the 4 pillars of quality. Fourth, the quality occupancy score. And finally, number 5, moving from insight to accountable action. Let's get to it.
Section 1. The 91% illusion. Let's look at why this metric is so incredibly deceptive.
Take a look at this comparison. This is straight from a real-world deployment by Haven Senior Living. On the left, we've got a community called Springfield. Now, Springfield boasts a 92% census. Sounds great, right? But when you actually look under the hood, it's got a quality occupancy score of just 71. Why the big gap? Well, it's because their acuity fit is compressed, their staffing is dangerously thin, and they've got massive rate integrity leaks on ancillary capture. Now compare that to Castle Rock on the right. Castle Rock has a lower headline census, but a much higher quality score. We're talking healthier margins and rock-solid retention. It just goes to show, high headline occupancy can totally mask clinical mismatches and serious staff burnout.
And that brings us to this absolutely crucial realization. Not all occupancy is good occupancy. It's tough to hear, but a single misfit admission, someone at the wrong clinical acuity, absorbed by a care team that's already stretched way too thin, can actually cost you more than that resident ever contributes in revenue. If you're bringing in folks that your building just wasn't designed to support, your margins compress and your incident frequencies shoot up. It's really that simple.
Moving on to Section 2, the cost of data fragmentation. This is really the structural root cause of the whole problem. The real issue here is that the data you actually need is scattered across 7 completely disconnected domains. Think about it. Your census data lives in one system. Your CRM data is somewhere else. Referrals, admissions workflows, workforce scheduling, clinical acuity, billing ledgers, they all live in these completely separate silos. By the time leadership tries to reconstruct net operating income calculations downstream, they are looking at a lagging picture. We're talking 20 to 40 days late. They're just seeing disconnected puzzle pieces, not the actual operating picture. And here is what that actually costs you. Because these systems simply do not talk to each other, operators are quietly losing between 8 and 14% of their monthly revenue. That is a massive chunk of change just leaking through the cracks. It happens through level of care miscoding and ancillary underbilling. Basically, you are delivering the care, but because your clinical acuity data isn't talking to your billing ledger in real time, you just aren't charging for it. It's a direct, painful hit to your bottom line. Okay, Section 3, the 4 pillars of quality. This is where we talk about the fundamental shift we need to make.
Now, what's really interesting here is how we redefine what true occupancy success actually looks like. It boils down to 4 measurable dimensions. And honestly, every single move-in needs to pass this test. First up, is it clinically appropriate? Does the resident's actual acuity fit your license capacity? Second, is it operationally supportable? Like, can your current labor capacity and MedPass load physically handle this admission? Third, is it financially accretive? Are you maintaining rate discipline and actually billing correctly? And fourth, is it durable? Are we looking at projected length of stay and clinical stability, or are we just chasing a quick 90-day win to make the numbers look good?
The contrast between the old way of doing things and the new way is just night and day. A traditional census dashboard, it just tracks leads, tours, and gives you a basic point-in-time percentage of full beds. Big deal. But an operating layer built on quality occupancy intelligence actually measures your true enterprise value. It looks at acuity fit before the admission even happens. It forecasts move-out risks up to 90 days before a notice is given. And, crucially, it assigns role-routed actions to fix these leaks before they can drain your margins. It's a total game changer.
Which brings us to Section 4, the Quality Occupancy Score. This is your new trusted metric.
So the answer to the 91% illusion is the Quality Occupancy Score, or QoS. This is a massive shift away from relying on a single isolated percentage. It's actually a 100-point composite score, and it's computed nightly for every single community in a portfolio. It grades a community into one of 4 distinct bands: at risk, watch, stable, or strong. It takes 12 measurable components, things like incident trends, med pass loads, and rate integrity, and appropriately weights them. So instead of just seeing that you're 92% full, you see exactly how strong that 92% really is.
And look, if you're going to run your entire business on a score, you really have to trust it, right? That's exactly why the QoS operates on a really strict no fabrication rule. If a signal is missing, it's totally excluded from the score. It never imputes a component it can't measure, and it absolutely never borrows data from a sibling community. The score actively exposes its own data completeness right alongside the number, so as an operator, you know exactly what you're looking at. No guessing.
And this brilliantly illustrates the engine behind that score. It's SeniorCRE's Module M55 Intelligence Stack. It's an entire suite grounded in the canonical operating record, built across 9 integrated phases. We're talking everything from an executive command center to a move-in friction map, all the way down to an AI occupancy agent. It takes all those previously fragmented data silos we were talking about earlier and runs them through a single, undeniable operational truth.
Finally, Section 5, from insight to accountable action. Let's talk about actually fixing problems.
Think about the difference between a traditional dashboard and a true operating layer. Honestly, a dashboard just shows you a problem. It usually just leaves executives totally paralyzed by a sea of red numbers on a screen. But an operating layer? It doesn't just identify a risk. It takes that insight, turns it into a concrete task, and actually assigns a named human being to go fix it.
Let's move to and see how this builds into an automated workflow. Every night, right at 3:15 UTC, the score is computed. Let's say a breach is detected. Maybe an admission exceeds your staffing capacity, or your net operating income drops. Boom, a deduplicated task is automatically created. That task is then routed to a specific human with a strictly defined service level agreement. That person reviews the data, fixes the issue, and closes the task. And the best part, closing the task instantly rescores the community. Now, to prevent alert fatigue, because nobody wants a million pointless notifications, these insights are highly targeted. The executive director, they only get alerts for operational blockages. The director of nursing gets flagged on clinical acuity mismatches and resident churn risks, often before a family even makes a phone call. Sales directors get tasks about move-in friction. The CFO is pinged on rate leakage and agency overspend, and the regional VP gets a clear view of the portfolio-wide risk table. Literally, everyone knows exactly what's on their plate today and who owns the rest of the puzzle. So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this final, vital question to help you rethink your own metrics. Are you just filling buildings, or are you actually creating enterprise value? Because as we've seen today, hitting that 91% occupancy mark means absolutely nothing. It completely fails if your margins are leaking, your staff is burning out, and your residents aren't a clinical fit. True operational intelligence is not about just counting heads in beds. It's about seeing the problem before it becomes expensive. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey. And remember, always keep questioning the data.